and Visual Arts, Environmental Conservation, and our first ever Yes Camp last November 30, 2022. This upcoming SSC week and intramurals, we look forward to more yeses as we continue the Student Cabinet's vision. The Office of the Vice President, led by the Madam VP, Honorable Angel Nasayo, focused on collaborating, not confronting the organizations and reaching out to them. We secured 7,000 worth of additional donations for carbon demolition Josenian victims, put up in record time the highly commended Booth Fest during the university days, the first General Assembly of Organization Officers in a long time, the participation of organizations in the USJ-R edition of Pasko sa Kabatanunan, and the 4-point You Care outreach initiative last Christmas for pets, the elderly, children, and public school students. This semester, they are intended to embark on the revival of the Adelante Student Leaders Congress in partnership with the Federation, U Film Festival for Student Filmmakers, Booth Fest 2.0 for the upcoming intramurals, and U More to recognize the milestones of the Josenian student leaders. I look back and look forward with pride, knowing that I entrusted the focus to organizations to a competent, independent, and no-nonsense Vice President. Way pakpak? Grabe. Okay. Describe yung tarong, anak. Besides Enroll You First, moving forward, the Public Information Office also embarked on systemic changes in the Council. We merged 2 units under one communications arm, secured USJ-R emails for all SSC instrumentalities and organizations. We published regular transparency reports, shot videos for events like Welcome Week, Gabi sa Kabilin, SSC Christmas Party, OVP's U Care, and CCYDC, led our first ever SSC Christmas ID, revived our Twitter and Instagram channels, and countless layouts and art cards posted on a regular basis on our pages. At present, we're working on the UNO website using a domain and software endorsed by our IT administrator. We are able to send our message across the entire Josenian populace because of a PR team that even trolls would be worried about. The Office of the Katawa, pero naay lihok, Office of the Treasurer, Honorable Carion. After almost 3 congresses, we successfully retrieved SSC's bank account, which we will use beginning this semester. Since day one, we needed to make this happen to fix our finances, and it's a good start this sem. We also successfully went on one by one, no matter how hard it is, with our liquidations becoming as technical as we can be to trace our expenditures. OOTT also oversaw the recording of our incomes on projects like Print for Less, concessionaires, and So Good Merch. Now, we're on our way to making sure that we finish our term with 3 hardbound books of financial statements before we leave, and institutionalizing Fund First through a Council Act. We will appropriate 5% of SSC's fund to provide aid for cases not covered by our insurance contract. And finally, the office that went beyond expectations, the Office of the Auditor. In a long time, that position has been limited to waiting what the Treasurer will endorse, reviews it, and makes a report. However, Vince Villaruel and her team is more than that. They successfully initiated Auditor, the first ever capacity building workshop for auditors from every organization, thereby systemically improving their fiscal management. But more importantly, Auditor Vince Villaruel and her team accepted my challenge. Please trace the 40-year history of USJ-R SSC and gather us in a homecoming. Align it with the Diamond Jubilee Anniversary year-long celebration. In time for SSC Week, we will soft launch the registration for the Grand Reunion and hopefully build on long-term collaborations with successful former SSC officers even when we are not in USJ-R anymore. Now, of course, recreational activities are part of the Josenian way of life. Our Sugod online welcome last September 12, the Sugod University Days with Booth Fest, Battle of the Bands, and singing duets last September 22 to 23, our Sugod online welcome last June 26 to 30, and the first ever Teachers' Day celebration here in the main lobby for our college faculty are just some of them. I encourage our organizations and commissioners present to please collaborate with an open heart with SSC as we approach the upcoming SSC week this February 8 to 15 and the upcoming university-wide intramurals 2023 this March 13 to 17. Besides this, also included in our agenda before we leave is to finally amend the 2012 SSC Constitution led by Honorable Agnesca Magos and Honorable Rian Bakuli. We are currently completing the Constitutional Convention. That is the body of representatives from each school, commission, and identified sector. The major reforms will take effect in the next Congress elections, which we target to be ratified in a plebiscite this March or April. The quality of leaders we elect matters in concerns like constitutional amendments. One way towards that is to make sure that exercising one's right to vote should be made as easy, convenient, accessible, and innovative, but still credible and systematic as possible. Having said that, I always thought, especially when I entered SSC, what can 1 year of my privilege as president achieve? And it took me time to answer that question. But it was actually quite simple. One, nurture the seedlings planted by the previous Congress. Number two, plant our own seeds. And number three, make sure someone else just as passionate as us nurtures them and grows them. Josenians deserve a council and a university that cares more and listens more. On that note, I started with a statement from Jessie Robredo and will end with Lenny Robredo. As she said, maraming mahuhusay na tao at matatalinong tao ang tumutugon kapag tinatawag na maglingkod. Ang hamon sa atin, wag nang hintayin pang matawag. Tayo na mismo ang maghanap ng landas, tumukoy ng mga puwang na dapat punan, tumungo sa laylayan at doon maglingkod. To my father, my mother, my dearest advisors and friends, I'm forever indebted for your unwavering support. To all the Josenians watching and listening, I'm forever grateful to have been given the most unique opportunity and privilege to be the first to listen to you and the first to care for you. It has been indeed the best council ever. Together with you, daghang salamat and adelante.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Honorable Lateral Matthews C. Fernandez. With all of those being mentioned by Pres Fernandez in the first 6 months of service, the SSC 41st Congress will make sure to fulfill its promise to always and continue to listen to you and for you, Josenians. For the next part of our program, we will now be having a report for the financial status of the Council, which will be reported by our SSC Treasurer 41st Congress, no other than Honorable Kyla Marie Hill Corion. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much, Hon Garcia. Good afternoon to all of our Josenians and to the officers here today. Allow me to present our fiscal status of the Council. I will be presenting, I hope the spreadsheet will also be presented for everyone's visual. All right, so I will be presenting today the statement of cash flows of the Council. So to start, I will be sharing to you the total cash inflow of the Council. So first is a turnover from the 38th Congress. It was mentioned by Press Latrell a while ago that we have successfully retrieved the bank account from the 38th Congress. So the passbook and the checkbook is with us, and we have confirmed with the bank last Monday that the official turnover is 83,852 pesos. The turnover from the 40th Congress, we have confirmed this yesterday from the accounting office and from Sir Dexter, our university controller, that the official turnover from the 40th Congress is 386,705 pesos and 51 centavos. Adding here is our first semester budget for the 41st Congress, amounting to 379,050 pesos. Adding here as well, one of the service that the council has offered for the Josenians is the print for less, which amounts to 60,480 pesos. Adding here as well is our profit from the concessionaires. So these were present during the university days, the alumni concert, and the alumni homecoming. And it amounted to 32,562 pesos. We also had our merchandise during the Sugod 2022, which the Josenians supported, and we have garnered 36,795 pesos. So our total cash inflow for the first semester is 979,444 pesos and 51 centavos. Now mentioning to you the operating expenses of the council. So to start is our pre-first semester, totaling to 123,712 pesos, 0.55. So in here are the SSC shirts na gisuot sa atong mga officers today. Also the first team building and general planning of activities. Also the SSC summer scholarship amounting to 100,000 pesos, supporting 40 Josenians, so that's 2,500 subsidy per student. That's the total pre-first semester cash outflow. Now for the first semester, SSC-related cash outflow, we have here from the Welcome Week and Sugod 2022 amounts to 5,250 and 9,816.70. Also the auditor from the Office of the Auditor. We also had the Yes Camp by the Office of the President amounting to 22,943.75. We also had several activities from the different commissions, such as the Commission on Public Health with their vaccination campaign, the MHC activities of the Mental Health Commission, from the Adelante Babae during their Josenian Pinktober, the Commission on Education Extension, Commission on Environment, Arts and Culture Commission activities, as well as the Entrepreneurship Commission. Also adding here is the SSC Christmas Station ID by the PIO and Christmas-related activities headed by the different HRs of the legislative body. So for our SSC-related expenses for the first semester amounts to 266,097 pesos, 0.45. For the non-SSC related, so the council was involved with various activities outside school, such as the Alumni Mall exhibit. I know some of the Josenians have visited us there. We have also incurred expenses. Also from the Cebu City Youth Development Commission, which amounted to 7,483 pesos. During the Gabii sa Kabilin and the UNESCO, which is our Manila engagement, amounting to 17,500. In total, for the non-SSC related is 60,524 pesos. For the other expenses, with the help of our university comptroller, we have officialized and worked on the transfer of the 100% president discount to VP Angel, and her 50% vice president discount will be added to support more SSC scholars for the second semester. So the vice president discount amounts to 23,000 and 754.06. So all of the budget that we requested were in check, and we had to encash them to the bank. And out of all the encashment transactions that we had, we only experienced twice to be charged with bank service for the reason na ni adto mi og bank na mas duol, so sayop na branch ang among naadtuan. So we were charged 100 pesos for the bank service fee, and that happened twice. So adding also here is the bank service charge worth 200 pesos. Lastly, for the other expenses are the office supplies. So as mentioned a while ago, we bought 2 new printers to better our service for print for less. Some students visited us around December and have seen some decorations in the office. It was part here also. Also, the ink na among gigamit sa printer also under office supplies. So in total, we have 112,941 pesos for the office supplies. In total, for the other expenses for the first semester is 136,895.06. So our total first semester cash outflow, Senians, is 587,229.06. Now to wrap it up, our cash balance, so to deduct our inflow from our outflow as of December 31, 2022, is 392,215.45. Just to note that the only amount that is with us or on hand is 78,257.94. The 313,957.51 is not with us, but with the accounting office, since we still do not have our bank account. So again, the only cash on hand that we have is the 257.94. So to wrap it all up, we are not in deficit, and the council is still in good hands when it comes to its fiscal status. So that will be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kayla Marie Hill Carion, SSC Treasurer, for the report about the fiscal status of the Council. Okay, right now, at this juncture of our program, we will now proceed to the second semester press conference. So I am requesting the officers to be in front. Honorable Lateral Matthew Fernandez, Honorable Angel Nasayaw, Honorable Chelsea Marie Villarojo, Honorable Kyla Marie Hill Carion, Honorable Vince Lucille Villaruel, and Honorable Harry Mayol, and Honorable Christy Mayor Redimo for the question and answer portion of the part of the program. Okay, for the second semester school press conference, I have here the following guidelines, which everyone is expected to follow throughout the press conference. For the guidelines, if you want to ask questions, then you may proceed in front where the microphone. Can we request for the microphone? Yeah, okay. So if there are questions from especially from the media, forward and purveyor publication, and to the students present here today, we are to place a microphone in front. So you may just step on the microphone and ask and address the questions to our designated officers that we have here with us today. Okay, we are requesting as well the presence of our media, forward publication, and the purveyor publication to occupy the front table or the front seats for this press conference. Yeah, okay, thank you so much. They're here. Okay, let's continue the guidelines. So we have 5 different segments wherein you are able to ask designated officers. For example, for the first segment, we have the legislative body representative, our House Speaker, Honorable Christy Mayor Redimo, and our Deputy House Speaker, Honorable Harry Mayol, for the legislative matters or questions related to legislative matters. And this would mean that these officers should be the one who will answer your questions. And after that segment, you will not be able to ask them again. So this scheme will be followed to the rest of the segments. And of course, a friendly reminder to be polite of your questions and of course, strictly no use of foul words. And reminded as well that we have allotted a time frame for every segment for you to ask your questions.
Okay, for the first segment, it will be 10 minutes. Let us have the Legislative Body's House Speaker and Deputy House Speaker, Honorable Christy Mayrudimo and Honorable Harry Mayol, to answer questions concerning the Legislative Body. Let's hear it first from our media, Forward and Purveyor Publication. Please proceed to the mic. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon as
Um,
well.
I have a question. Do you have plans to petition to bring back the old criteria for the Latin honors and academic discount?
When in regards to those matters, we initially conducted a meeting with Sir Dexter for the first semester, and we opened up that issue. However, as we raised that issue, Sir Dexter told us that they will first assess whether the Latin honors or the results of what do you call this, the Dean's Listers quantity of students nga qualified for those Latin honors, and Dean's Listers affect ba the financial status, because as per Dexter said, the school status daw is still haven't reached gani a kanang profitable point nga kanang daghan daw jud kayo og discounts, and as well as the Latin honors para sa mga graduating students.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, are there any more questions from the media? None? Okay, how about the CCSO or the Council of College Student Organization? If you have any questions, please stand up and the Honorable Sanchez will give you the mic. Okay, questions from CCSO and as well as the commissions as well, if they have questions. Just please raise your hand if you have any questions. Don't hesitate. Our designated officers are very ready to answer your questions today. Questions from CCSO? Going once, twice, thrice. Okay, hearing, seeing none. Let's proceed. Let's proceed to the representative from the sectoral groups. Are there any representative from the sectoral groups? Any questions? Okay, none. Okay, let's proceed to the second segment. Okay, I guess that's all for the legislative body, legislative matters. And thank you so much to our legislative representatives for answering the questions of our media. Okay, let's proceed to the second segment of our press con. Again, you have 10 minutes allotted time to ask questions to our SSC Auditor, Honorable Vince Lucille Villaruel, and SSC Treasurer, Honorable Kyla Marie Hill Carion, for the financial matters of the Council. Questions? Let's start first with the media, Forward and Purveyor Publication.
So, good afternoon. Can we ask, what is the status of the previous council's financial statement? Because we've heard that you still do not have a hold of the previous Congress bank account. So, we'd like to ask about that.
Thank you for the question. We actually did a consultation meeting with President Chon with regards to the financial statements of the past Congress, since it is also important for our fiscal reports for our Congress. And they have confirmed that it is still in the works, as per their words during our consultation meeting. But we haven't seen any document yet, but as per President Chon, it is already in the works. We are just waiting for the actual documents to be sent to us. So that's all I can say for the fiscal statements from the past Congress. Anything you want to say? Yeah, that would be all. I hope it somehow answered the question.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any more question from the media? Okay. I guess that's all for. Okay, we have another question from the media.
Is that a concern since the start of the semester, from the first semester?
Yes, I must say it was really a big concern. But thankfully, no, we have worked hand in hand with the accounting office. That's why we were able to present our cash flow, because they were able to confirm to us our the supposed amount for the turnover from the 40th Congress. But during the first parts of the semester, it was hard to assess whether or not we are still in the right. No, we were still if we are still able to use the money for our different activities, because yun nga, we do not know what is the beginning balance if we talk very technical. So that it was a concern, but eventually we were able to confirm with the accounting office.
Good afternoon to each and everyone. So I would like to speak as the former House Speaker of the 40th Congress. I am fully aware of the status of the financial statements in our Congress. So the thing is, yes, there was no financial statement, the katong statement good, no issued financial statement yet. However, we were able to liquidate every activities that we've had in our Congress, in our time, and we actually even published it online in our Facebook group via the PIO, or the Public Information Office Facebook group. So everything was already liquidated, everything was already reported via the activity reports, liquidation reports. It's just that the lacking part is the financial statement itself. But we were already able to get the ledger from the accounting as to how much really is our balance from the 40th Congress. And upon confirming it with Press JT and our former treasurer, Danielle Nunez, we were also actually pressuring them to really produce already the financial statements before the end of our term.
I have another question. Given that the holding of the bank account is still being processed, do you think that this concern will be passed to the next Congress?
My office and this Congress will assure that it will not be an issue anymore, since we will be securing the bank account this week. So after the passing of the resolution later on by the legislative body, we will be expediting the action. So tomorrow I will visit the bank, and we have confirmed last Monday that it will not take a day for it to be transferred. So the needed documents, Rajud, is the past resolution and the recently acquired passbook and checkbook. So it is a promise that the 41st can give to the 42nd that the bank account will not be an issue anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, SSC Treasurer. Are there any questions from the media? Okay, so I guess we have to proceed to the next group from the CCSO and the commissions. Do you have any question with regarding to the financial status of the council? Again, don't hesitate to ask questions. Our officers are so much ready to answer that. Our treasurer and auditor has been, really hands-on with the financial status of the council. So whatever that concern, they will surely answer it. So any question from CCSO and commissions? Going once, twice, thrice, hearing, seeing none, okay. Okay, let's proceed to the sectoral groups. Okay, we have the... I guess that's all for the SSC Auditor and SSC Treasurer for the second segment of this press conference.
This time, for the third segment, we have allotted 5 minutes for us to question our SSC Secretary, Honorable Chelsea Marie Villarojo, to answer your questions. So let's hear it first from our media, Forward and Purveyor Publication. Please proceed to the mic.
Good afternoon, Miss Chelsea.
Good afternoon.
What have you accomplished from the past 6 months that weren't accomplished by all the preceding SSC councils?
Yeah, I think that would go back to what Press has elaborated earlier. First was the collaboration or the merging of the PIO and the PR documentation team, because in the previous Congress, the PR team was different from the PIO team. Like other people were handling the SSC page while others were handling the PIO page. But for this Congress, I have decided to include that in my agenda to merge both groups in one office, which is the Public Information Office. And that is like, I believe that is one of the reasons why our social media management is efficient, since we all collaborate with one another, like for public relations, aside from that, technicals, for events like these. So I think that would be one. Second is the platform Enroll You First. The enrollment assistance, I think that's one highlight in the first and summer enrollment. We were able to assist Josenians, and we were able to get their feedback as well during the summer enrollment. And so far, there were a lot of positive feedbacks from the students. But of course, there were negative as well, but we took them as constructive criticisms in order for us to improve this second semester. And then another accomplishment would be our constant updates and posting in social media. I believe that a lot of you guys can also see that. We see to it that every time there is an update, we give the announcements to the students ahead of time, of course, but with the approval from the pair office. We also collaborate with them. I think that's also one achievement. Yeah, and another achievement would be our collaboration as well with the IT administration or the data center with Sir Emerson and Jola, and with pair office with Miss Mitzi. For pair, that's with regards to the announcements, to our live broadcast right now, or for events in general. And from the data center, we were able to collaborate with them for our UNO website, which we are targeting to release by February through the help of Honorable Berna Hernani and Honorable Alexis Parales. Yeah, I think that's so far as I can remember. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, mic test. Okay, thank you so much for that, Secretary Villarojo. Any more questions from the media? Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, so next are from the CCSO again and the commissions, if you have any questions. Again, are there any more questions for our secretary, I mean?
Hello, mic test.
Okay, are there any more questions for our secretary?
Hello.
Going once, going twice, thrice. Okay, hearing, seeing none, let's proceed to the next segment. Okay, for the fourth segment, again, 5 minutes will be allotted for this. And let us have our SSC Vice President, Honorable Angel Nasayaw, to answer your questions. Let's hear it first, of course, again, from the media, Forward and Purveyor Publication. Please.
Good afternoon.
Okay. When you were inaugurated to position, you said that you shared to us your vision for USJ-R under your term. So far, from the past 6 months, do you think that you are getting closer to that vision?
Yes. The direct answer is yes, of
How can
course,
you say
because as an individual, let's just put myself as an individual. This is not a pageant, okay? Going back to the question, as I envisioned my plans for USJ-R, that's the bigger scope actually. I have already laid out my plans as to how will I able to get that vision or to achieve that vision.
And so far, although I still believe that there are still lots of improvements and lots of better things that I am capable to do together with my OVP staff, then rest assured we will be able to, at the end of the year, at the end of my term, not kanang makomplete na siya and to reach the vision.
Okay, so thank you. Next question. Are the different commissions in the 41st Council productive and effective? How can you say so?
Okay, so your question is about the commissions. Can we offset that to press laterals? Because the setup here is that we agreed from the start, Pajud, that the commissions will be under his cabinet, will be under his supervision, while the organizations or the CCSO will be under the OVP. So can we offset that for a later?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
If it's okay with
Can we have the question repeated?
Are the different commissions in the 41st Congress productive and effective? How can you say so?
Okay, so I think one struggle with the commissions is the fact that the organization culture in USJ-R has just been refreshed. I think with the entry of Ma'am Bing, with the entry of Ma'am Jenny, organizations have just recently been revived. The same case is true for the commissions. No? We found it hard to attract as much volunteers as we would have wanted. But in terms of the portfolio of projects, the commissions have established 17. That is just as much as the House of Representatives and the entire executive branch. So in terms of productivity, impact, results, effectivity, I think the commissions can really say, yes, we are effective and productive. And commissions must be sustained and funded and supported in the next the Congresses to come. So,
Thank you so much for that, Press. Are there any more questions from the media?
For the Vice President, Vice Presidents are often deemed as shadows of the presidents in an organization. So what are some of your programs or achievements that made such a huge difference?
Okay, so I would like to go back with the establishment of the Council of College Student Organizations. And in line with that is our crafting of the CCSO manual, which is in the works and in the finalization part. So with the establishment of the Council of College Student Organizations, we are able to establish a more open atmosphere with the organizations. Although similar to the commissions, it's really a different culture, Manggod, especially the organizations. They have their independent way of how they lead or how they are supposed to do their duties and responsibilities. But I would like also to clarify that the OVP's role with regards to the CCSO is to not go overboard to what their standards are, but instead we will serve as their helping hand and as their bridge to mediate whatever concerns or whatever communication related that they would like to address to the admin per se. And aside from that, during the first semester, we were also able to launch one of our platforms, which is the UCare. So it is a community outreach program or platform. And currently, we are already in the works with the Inficop, Miss Catalina, as to in relation to the Milan Wednesdays that we are about to venture into. And we will be discussing further in the later months or weeks. And yeah, so the UCare platform, it will be in partnership with the Inficop. So what will happen is Wednesdays will be allotted for outreach activities. So there will be Wednesdays allotted for the outreach activities, but I cannot say directly right now as to pila ka Wednesdays or all Wednesdays by in a month because we are still crafting and finalizing the guidelines. So later on, you will know more about the Milan Wednesdays. And to add with regards to the outreach activities, this is also one practice that I have learned from my junior high school. I was also a junior high school student in USJ-R, and we really have that kanang mga COP, community outreach program. So that's what we're trying to also bring in the college level. And the thing that we will be doing with CCSO is we will be representing as volunteers, since the resources are available in the NFICUP, and one realization we got from our UCare outreach last December is it's really not easy to look for resources, to gather beneficiaries and whatsoever. So since we already have the institutionalized and established NFICUP, which is designated for that one, then we will be partnering with them. So later on, I will be discussing more about it with the Council of Presidents during our business meeting.
Thank you so much, Honorable Vice
Thank you.
President. Are there any more questions from the media? Okay.
Hello. Sorry, my voice is not in its best condition, but first of all, we want to applaud you for all the accomplishments you did for this semester. So for my question is, how will you sustain the established programs you did for this sem, and how will you pass it on for this for the 42nd Congress next school year?
So with regards to the Office of the Vice President, we actually had it in a council act. So it's already been established, the roles, the responsibilities, the duties, the scope. So I think that's one factor as to how we are able to sustain, or how we will be able to achieve sustainability with our programs in this 41st Congress nga term. And I believe that what we have started is something that is worth to be continued. And I also believe that whoever will be the next Vice President for the 42nd Congress will be, let's just say, they will be, he or she will be attracted to continue also the works that we have started in the 41st Congress, because I believe that there's something that he or she can do more for the 42nd Congress.
Thank you so much, Honorable Vice President.
Can I have a follow-up question?
Sure.
So what aspects of the performance of the 31st Congress for the first half of its time of being in service do you think are lacking and needs improvement?
Can I have an interpreter, please? Joke lang. Sige, so what are lacking in the 41st Congress? It's a hard question, actually. I'm still thinking. So, based on my personal assessment, I think what we have been focusing in the 41st Congress is the establishment within the council or within the office. And what we are lacking as of the moment is how we will be able to introduce that to a lot of Josenians jud kay. I think not all of our services or not everything that we have done in the four corners of our office is known to the majority, right? So, for example, about the katong baro kobe, the school supplies, what you have known is only the print for less, inanaganing ang mga services. So I think that's something that we can work on pa jud for the remaining 3 months that we have. It's not just about the events. You see us as event organizers most of the time because we have been leading this and that. So kana siya. But in terms of the more impactful gyud nga part for the students, that's something that we should really work on. We should really work on it. Yeah, so kana siya. And I think it's achievable and it's not really hard because we have a lot of our staff and our HRs as well.
Thank you. Are there any more questions from the media? Okay, thank you so much, Vice President Angel Nasaya, for answering the questions of the media. Let's proceed to the next segment.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the fifth segment, we have allotted 10 minutes for this. Now let us have the SSC President, Honorable Latrell Matthew Fernandez, to answer your questions. Let's hear it first from our media, Forward and Purveyor Publication. Please proceed to the mic.
Good afternoon, President Latrell. First of all, we'd like to congratulate you for, being very hands-on as the current president of the SSC. So we'd like to ask, do you believe that you have maximized your manpower throughout your 6 months of service?
I think one quality that not just student leaders or leaders should possess, but also students and Filipinos in general, is to be humble enough to admit no, nga natay pagkuwang. I think to a large extent, there were instances when we were not able to maximize the human resource that we have. If I look at it in a business perspective, we would have done more and achieved more if we were able to really assign tasks that fit to the competencies of our officers. But even in that regard, no, it's a work in progress. It's the first time that all of the Exacom officers have staffs. So to an extent, we were overwhelmed with the number. But we worked on it one by one and tried to clean up our structure. In my case, when I realized my office staff were not completely assigned to a purposeful task, I restructured them. I was humble enough to admit, no, nga, to an extent, nasayop ko pag first. So I reshuffled it and make sure nga, if unsay lang gi-assignan, that's what they are expected to achieve. And I assume the same, aware of the same, has been implemented for not just the executive but for the legislative branch, because to my knowledge, it has been one of the few times only in the legislative branch that they reshuffled to address internal concerns. That is a humble admission that there are concerns you need to address, no? Nga previously abinimog effective but turns out dili di ay. So you need to address it, no? Regardless of what other people would say. So, kana.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question. Last year, we interviewed you for the university days. And in terms of manpower, you mentioned that it was challenging because you lacked manpower. And during that time, you already had your commissions present. So do you think or do you believe that the University Days program or event was a success?
Well, I think the question would bring out context, though. University Days was just planned in a week or two. We said yes to the administration na our programs will be bannered as the major activities for the University Days. But with the commissions at that time was still starting. They were 2 weeks old, so they were not onboarded in the University Days. Number two, we needed to tap and harness the organizations for us to add to that manpower. We lacked manpower because of another major factor, which was time. I don't think we lacked in terms of financial or human resources, but in terms of time resources, because it was really hectic. That was the time when face-to-face returned. Just a week ago, and then the following week was the University Days. But, you know, leaders, as we claim to be, we say yes, no? So, mo nga ni padayon me even with those limitations, and I would say it was successful because amo siyang nagamit as a sort of benchmark sa mong nisunod nga mga activities and the upcoming SSC Weekend Intramurals nga early on pa lang sa buta na gyud nato and limit our activities dili siya daghanon just for the sake of having an activity. So kana. Okay.
Okay, thank you for that, Latrell. And now I'd like to proceed with the commissions. Can you give us like concrete plans and examples of such commissions like the Gender Equality and Adelante Babae or the Commission on Women?
Okay, so I think this would be a good opportunity since Father President is here. For the commissions, no, and with the commission you cited for gender equality, we are planning, but we are still considering, to have a forum on safe spaces and anti-gender-based discrimination in school with the employees as an audience. We believe that if employees are gender sensitive, not necessarily pro-LGBT or pro-women, gender sensitive or gender neutral, USJ-R becomes a safer space for everyone regardless of their gender. I think that commission is intended to do that. But the higher order is that one of their projects is to hold consultative meetings with at least 7 schools which have offices for gender and development. That office is not existent in this university, but it's necessary. It's not for LGBT, for women, it's for everyone. So that's one example. In terms of environment, we have just recently formed a partnership with RIDEM. That's the school's environment arm. So mura siya commission on environment sa school. So we decided that the commission will not hold original activities anymore. They will have to align their activities to the plan endorsed by RIDEM because their plan is more comprehensive. RIDEM needs volunteers, but environment needs the program. We bridged both weaknesses and hopefully reach to a strength. Third example would be jobs. No? I think to a large extent, placement is still not a culture so much in USJ-R in terms of making sure students are really employed. That's why we created the commission, although we found some circumstances hard in terms of attracting students to join commission on jobs. But the principle is there. We want that the council has a permanent commission intended to assist the school in making sure that students, bisag undergrads sila, can be employed on freelancing, on virtual assistance, on social media management, or other part-time opportunities while still in school. I mean, di na to i-deny, USJ-R is already a luxury as of now. So, kinahanglan nila mo trabaho to enroll. So, among mentality is for that opportunity to be provided, not just by the council, but in partnership with the office. So, those are just 3 of the 11 commissions. I could just lament every one of them, pero ang time atong kontra. If you'd want a more dedicated discussion, I can discuss them. So, kato, for the commissions. And the direction of the commission each is to become an organization. Mo gid among long-term vision na the commission become full-fledged organization. So mura siya, ako ang ni-breed niya, unsay mahimo ipasa sa OVP ana gani para the OVP always has amended regardless of the president, the sitting president. So the interdepartmental organization is enriched, but it starts as a commission. Mura siya club sa college nga himuong organization eventually. It takes time. No, but like other schools, nanay organizations on gender, on women, on esports, on mental health, USJ-R is a bit behind, but we are catching up and hopefully will in the months to come. So, with the help of Ma'am Bing and Ma'am Jenny, of course.
Is there any more questions from the media?
Will these commissions be continued or adopted by the next Congress, or it will solely depend on them?
Well, I hope so. I think students in time of elections and campaigns should consider that if the presidential candidate will not have a platform for the commissions, he or she should not win. Kay it's a test for the sitting president unsay extent sa pag-train niyag mga tao if kaya ba niya i-handle ang commissions, because di pa ako nag-handle sa legislative. I'm just a partner with the legis, and the executive has leaders in each office. So ako, I'm handling the commissions. If di niya i-promise to improve them, he or she should not be president.
Okay, so for my question, President Latrell, if you can rate the current AXICOM's competency throughout the first semester with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, how will you rate it and why?
Lipay ka sila, okay, rate sila. In kada meeting mo, Judy. I would say this in this manner, no? 10 in terms of dedication. Kay, imo mong tanawon, VP and Secretary is in their OJT era, no? Pero they're here. Honorable Kyla and Vince have been murag pressured siguro in terms of liquidations. Every day gunang follow-up na ko nila because I said nga, we cannot demand from the organizations if SSC mismo wala. So, and the sides of the legislative in anak nga case, in terms of dedication, in terms of output, and the same case for OP, I think we're still a 9. Kaya uman minahuman. And we have platforms we have not started at all. So, kinahanglan, I think leaders must hold themselves accountable. If gisaad na nimo humanon dyan na nimo, no matter what it takes. Kay nabuhian man na siya nga istorya, humanon gina siya. So, man na siya.
Okay, so For my next question, for the last remaining months of your service, what legacy do you want to leave in the council and in USJ-R in general?
Yeah, ako answer dyan na. I think that question was answered during the debate. Kung what type of SSC would you want to leave to the students? And dako kay ang question no, mura man sa. Okay. Okay. Sige. So I think sign ang prayer mo. Kinarong mas mong ba. Now, going back sa question, no, I think the sort of legacy is really to kanabang ang students makafeel siya nga at to a large extent na SSC nga nabati nila. Kay I think kanungdom jud ko there was one na stage nga ingon iyahang partner nga ay di ra ko na apila SSC kay wa mo ko ka-feel anang SSC. Okay pakiana di ka paminahon sa imong mga SSC nga mga yaw okay wa ko'y labot ana kay wa ko na feel. Sad paminahon pero ako tinuod bitaw. Not all students in every institution will feel the service. Pero kung nay mo comment sa imuha na feel na ko imong service, I think that's enough. I think that's the legacy. But temporary raman na, karon raman na, I think Father President will relate yun nga policies yun ka makausab bisag long term, bisag 5 years pa siguro ka mo graduate ako 5 years from now makaingon ko tungod na namo man nahitabo na siya. The SSC Alumni Association is hard to achieve but we said yes to it. CCSO has been a struggle for all SSCs before but we made it happen. Commissions, some others wanted it gone pero among gipadayon gipalakan pa namo. The website has been a pipe dream for the previous Congresses, but with the support of the admin, we would like to make it possible at least for our Congress. Fund First, that was unimaginable or unthinkable before, but we consider na mo siya, bisag dako ang makchunk sa SSC nga funds. Kana ba, you're willing to take the risk. Consti amendments, we have had early opposition. Di mi ana, kuan, di mo sugot ani, ana. Nya, ipasangil pa sa SSC and so on, bisag marabag unsay power gyud sa SSC, no? But if you tan-awon, kung if the road has bumps, banggaon yun ang tanan just to reach your destination. If the legacy is like that, I think to Father President the same. Daghag mga culture karon sa university nga dugay na kayong nakaugat ba kay maunay na andan. But if you're willing to change the system, shift it to a new paradigm regardless of who gets to be kanang angry in the end or kontra nimo, then make sure lang mas daghan ang ganahan nimo sa makontra nimo. I think that's the legacy I'd like to be reminded of, that we made a council be felt by those who needed it and wanted it. Kana.
Okay, so for my next question, President Latrell, what is your stand regarding the straw ordinance given that the most affected sector is the students and student organizations alike?
Okay. On straw ordinance, a context for everyone who is still listening, no? Straw ordinance is technically a House bill. House bill sa legislative sa country, dugay na kay wajud na pasar kay daghan kay mubabag ng mga corporate interests. Sa Cebu City, ordinance siya, pasaron ang straw sa Cebu City level para i-adapt sa mga universities within Cebu. However, each right nga naka-indicate sa straw, muligis siyag mga policies of every single institution. Ako, if ako lipabuton, I am in all agreement with every single one provision of that ordinance. But, if nanagid ka sa council, maka-realize yun ka, you need to take compromises. You need to see unsa say mga cultural differences nga if i-implement ni siya matandog ang value sa school or sa entire Recoletos nga REAP and ANA. So, in terms of agreement, yes. But in terms of implementation, gradual gina siya. I cannot share the details of one appeal we were successful of, but if I take that as an example of those people who are aware of that issue, consistent gid siya sa akong pagtuo that if firm imong pagtuo sa unsa ka right, if kinsay mong magian imo jud nang banggaon, regardless if makakontra ka in the first place or not. Just make sure you have more allies than enemies. No, kana. In the process of hopefully, I mean, Father President is here. Who else would we ask, di ba? Mas open pag yun in terms of revisiting at least the provisions of the SRO ordinance nga mo complement sa student manual. Kaya di man gyud tanan, but naagid dito nga mo maka-open gyud sa mga new ideas ba. I mean, 75 years of USJ-R, the first year would have been technically different than the 75th year, di ba? Meaning, nausab gyud. So, things can change. So, I hope it does in the future. Kana.
Okay, excuse me. We would be catering 2 more questions from the media because we're running out of time, and there's one here solicited from the CCSO. So,
Thank you,
Media.
President Latrell. I have none other.
So, hi press. So, it was mentioned earlier that not all students are aware of the programs offered by the SSC. So, considering the fact that it's already 6 months since the SSC, since the 41st Congress sat into the office, how will you reach out to these students that are not aware of the programs offered by the SSC?
Okay, that's a good question. Kuan, I think it's a good direction of the school to really consider the Milan Wednesday. I think it will help SSC so much, no, kay nanagid day that we can use ba to dedicate our activities. That's one, I think, way for us to reach out. Second, collaborations. We're just finding it hard to reach out to all offices, but we're trying to do so. Like I mentioned kanina, mental health, jobs, gender, and women are all under SDPC. No, but SDPC is a bit loaded with all their mandated work, no, and counseling and all. Health is with the health services, rhythm environment. Esports is with the athletics. The partnership will allow us to reach out to more students because SSC, no matter how much vigor we spend, kay dili gid siya enough. Dili gid enough ang energy. Kinahanglan yung support from those who know better and the administration gid na siya. And I think the presence of Ma'am Bing, Ma'am Jenny, and Father is enough to signify that support and hopefully to continue on the next congresses. Yeah.
Okay, next question. Since the 41st Congress has come into the office, what do you think is the significance that the SSC now plays in the university, and what influence were you able to contribute to this?
Okay. Not sure lang with the previous congresses, no, but karon lang akong basihan. I think it's very refreshing when I see my name, for example, or SSC and memorandums nga i-release sa school nga part ka ni nga committee, appeal ka ni nga meeting, appeal ana dong para na istorya ang mga students. It's refreshing, it's encouraging because I think not a single meeting siguro wa jud ko ni istorya because panagsaragod ng privilege, di ba? I think that's a lasting impact because sometimes I feel in those meetings paminawon jud ko ba imo yung insight ang kanang i-consider gani niya makabantay na lang ka nga because of what you said kay ni flow ang discussion. I think that not all students are given that privilege and even gatagan sa privilege isa mo tingog, for example. I emphasize that with our HRs every time mag-session kita paningog jud mo. The voice is very important more than just the presence. Naagay ka din isa ka mo tingog. For example, no? So kana lang no, the impact is in terms of presence but more also the voice in terms of when you are invited, when you are involved, kay, kung ka, take your stance good, firm good, and make your case, but also make compromises. Dili ka mabugos pirmi, makikaaway pirmi. See the bigger picture as well. Kaya I think the advantage on my side because nako'y background sa employees nga side, nasa ko'y background sa students nga side. So the picture is bigger on my side. Makakita yun ko sa considerations of both. Kana.
Okay, so thank you, media. This time, we have one solicited question from the CCSO. So here it is, press. With the USJ-R Quadricentennial Campus under construction along Colon Street, does the SSC plan to make a student survey on what students wish to have in the new campus? Once again, with the USJ-R Quadricentennial Campus under construction along Colon Street, does the SSC plan to make a student survey on what students wish to have in the new campus?
Okay. Well, that is a new suggestion. Karon basta ko kadungog ana. And I think it's a good consideration. Surveys man good, it's just data gathering. We have conducted 2 surveys for F2F concerns, technically 4, but 2 ang main surveys. We have conducted a survey on intramurals. We have conducted a survey on another set of concerns. We will conduct a survey on election-related issues, and we will not hesitate. Basta moagi lang sa process of pananghid, no? Ipa-consult sa mga administration on sa content sa survey, give them a report of the results of the survey. We have done that before. We will not hesitate to do it again on various issues, and hopefully on bigger issues pag yun. Labi na on kanang the finances that we pay, the services that we avail, the facilities that we see in campus, still with the support of, and in consultation with our authorities. Dili gud mo diretso lang, no? Og decide kay mas makatabang man sila actually. I think mo ni nakita ang mga benefit when we conduct surveys or moves kay mas nindot pa gani siya if i-consult nimo sa admin kay sa dili. Kay kung ikaw ra wa kay support makuha. Pero kung imo siya i-consult mat napas lay ma-suggest nga dong iagi na to ani buhaton nato inana. In so many ways we've actually listened first. Not just quite literally maminaw ra ka, but on surveys, on data gathering and so on. We'll do it over and over, and hopefully the next Congress will. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, CCSO. Karon ay pahabol di ang media. We'll be catering one more question from the media.
Thank you so much. So this is our last question. Since there are only few months left until the end of the semester and the time of service for the 41st Congress, how do you plan to create an impact within this time that will resonate with every Josenian for a long time?
Yeah. SSC Week is usually full of contests or recreational events, but we decided with firm stance na dili na siya ingon ana, it should be ended. Kaya ang notion sa mga tao, SSC event organizer mong yun. So, we need to at least change that notion. Mo nang ang SSC Week karon on February 8 to 15 will be largely composed of one platforms by the HRs. So each school were asked to implement at least 2 platforms nga wa pa nila human. They were asked to, commissions also asked to implement at least 1 developmental project, not recreational. And then we only have 3 recreational activities. Kaya ihurot na sa intrams tanan. That one paradigm shift is important. Kaya we hope nga ipadayon sa next Congress nga ang SSC Week di siya lingaw lang. Nakay makuha ba? Lagi po lingaw, no? Kaya the main activities are big man. Nindot man siya actually. So we'll just announce that later on. Then second, I think mo dwell na siya on the considerations that we make. Gipili na lang namo unsa nga activities yun amo ang ipadayon kay technically 3 months na lang jud that we have. So gitanaw na namo unsay platforms na wala pa namo na implement, unsay services nga pwede pa namo mabuhat. Giharness pag namo tanan ang organizations, no, mas aggressive amo ang collaboration with them. Hopefully wala na yung mga issues that come along the way. So kana in that manner nga kuan gid siya, mas pinili na lang ang activities kay pag first time ang good mas kuan mi. Yes, anata go ta na. Karon kay mas maka-realize ka nga bitaw no, pili ana to sa kay high impact project. Tanaw ni mga beneficiary more than the idea. Yeah.
So thank you so much, and that concludes our 5th segment. Thank you, Honorable Fernandez.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for everyone who accepted our invitation. We hope that everyone gained necessary information about the semestral accomplishment of the council and reports from the different executive offices and the legislative body as well and its committees in 6 months in office. to the speakers, to the House Speakers and the Deputy House Speaker, to the Auditor, Treasurer, Secretary, Vice President, and President, to the CCSO, to the media, forward and purveyor, to the SSC officers and everyone, thank you so much. And we would also like to inform everyone that after this press con, there will be general assemblies. The CCSO, instructions will be relayed later. Okay, I guess that would be all for the second semester press conference. Thank you so much, everyone.
Afternoon, and thank you.